people, thank you very much for coming over to my channel and having a look at my latest video. This is Blast from Your Past channel, and today we're going to be looking at a classic album in my view, in my eyes, and I'm a big Shakin Stevens fan, and I thought it would be nice to take a look at this album. This is Shaky's debut album on the Epic record label, and it is called Take One. Now, I was lucky enough to be able to pick up a sealed copy of this album just recently. It's very nice to find it in this condition, in the shrink. Mainly for a couple of reasons, because it's not an album that you come across too often in the shrink wrap. So to be able to find it in this condition is very nice. It's also a great album too, and it has his first hit single for Epic, Hot Dog, on here. Some great musicians on this album too. Most notably Albert Lee, who was a great British guitar player, one of the very best. Stuart Coleman also plays bass on this album. Now, Stuart Coleman produced a lot of Shaky's early hit singles like The Soul House and Green Door, and he was part of the Shaky hit machine, if you like, for a number of years. BJ Cole is also on this album, a great British steel guitar player, slide guitar player. So it's a great album, and it opens up with, I'll give you the track listing. Side 1 we have Love Struck, Hot Dog, Is a Bluebird Blue, That's Alright, Without a Love, and Shame Shame Shame. Side 2 is Shotgun Boogie, I Got Burned, which is the old Ral Donna number, I Guess I Was a Fool, which is Buddy Holly, Arpoo, Little Baby, Little Pigeon, and Do What You Did. It's a fantastic album from start to finish. It's got a great rock and roll, rockabilly theme to it. It's just a great album. So Take One was recorded at Cheswick Studios in 1979, and it was released in February of 1980. Okay, so we've jumped over to Wikipedia now, and I've pulled up a resources page about the album. So there may be some interesting information on here that we haven't talked about or overlooked. Now, one thing that springs to mind straight away is the fact that quite often Take One is mistakenly quoted as being released in October of 1979, and when Sony BMG released the Epic Masters box set in 2009, that was still information that they were quoting, which is completely wrong because it didn't come out until after the Hot Dog single had charted. And then in April of 1982, the album was re-released under the new title of Hot Dog, and I will show that cover a little later in the video. Two songs were changed. That's Alright and Arpoo, Little Baby were replaced by You and I Were Meant to Be and Make It Right Tonight, and I believe that the album charted within the top 5 then, following the reissue. So if we just look down this page, we can see that the tracks on the album, and we can see who was responsible for the writing or the performing. Obviously, Hot Dog was a country hit for Buck Owens originally, and also Tennessee Ernie Ford with Shotgun Boogie and Ral Donna, I Got Burned. I Guess I Was a Fool was a cover of a Buddy Holly song, great song. And then it goes on to list the CD bonus tracks. Now, these are the tracks that were added to the album in 2009 when it was remastered for the Epic Masters box set. So we've got Apron Strings, which was the original B-side of Hot Dog. Treat Her Right was an early Epic single which didn't chart. I Don't Want No Other Baby was the B-side of Treat Her Right and Spooky. Endless Sleep, which was a single again. Fire, which was a cover of the Bruce Springsteen song, and that was the B-side of Endless Sleep. And then Spooky, which was a single as well. So if we just go down and have a look at the personnel, we can have a look at in a bit more detail who was on the album. Of course, we know it was Shaky on vocals. Stuart Coleman was the musical arranger for the album, and he also played bass. Howard Tibble on drums. Now, Howard is still with Shaky to this day. He's currently on tour with Shaky in Europe as part of Shaky's new tour, Greatest Hits and More. Albert Lee needs no introduction to anybody who knows the music. Albert Lee is a fantastic guitarist. He's probably one of the best British guitarists you know, absolutely brilliant. BJ Cole on pedal steel guitar, fantastic. Roger McHugh on rhythm guitar. Now Roger McHugh played on quite a few of Shaky's recordings on the Epic label, and he's quite prolific on the Give Me Your Heart Tonight LP as well. Sid Phillips on baritone saxophone, Tony Hall tenor saxophone, and Mike Hurst as producer. Now Mike Hurst and Shaky had worked together previously on some earlier recordings, particularly a track called Never, which he did with Shaky for the Track Records label, and that was a cover of an old Eddie Cochran number. So chart positions, well, Take One was the first Shaky album to chart in the UK, and it didn't chart very high actually. It made number 62 for 2 weeks, and when the album was reissued, as stated earlier, it charted much higher as Hot Dog. So what we'll do is we'll jump back over now to the album, the sealed album that I have, and we'll talk a little bit more about the reissue, and we'll look at some photographs of the Hot Dog reissue. Right, so here we are now then with the reissue from April 1982. This is Hot Dog, and what they've done obviously here is they've just changed the front cover with a different photograph, and the back cover is pretty much the same, apart from the font is different on the word, on the lettering there. And as said earlier, they changed 2 tracks out. The first one on side 1 was You and I Were Meant to Be, which replaced That's Alright, and the second track, Make It Right Tonight, replaced Our Poor Little Baby from the first original release. And that's it. And it was re-released in April of '82, and it charted in the top 10, I believe, in the album chart. So that's basically it for that. What you're looking at now is actually a Dutch copy of Hot Dog, although things were pretty much the same for the English version. There wasn't much difference there. And CBS had this habit in those days of sticking a big price sticker on the front there, which I didn't bother trying to peel, because normally you take half the sleeve with you when you do peel it, so I've just left it there. So I like both albums. I like the cover on Hot Dog. It's a really good cover. So let's just now jump back to Take One. So that is Shakin' Stevens' Take One / Hot Dog. A great album if you're just getting into Shaky's music. Where have you been? But if you're just getting into Shaky's music, it's a really good place to start. People will probably say greatest hits compilation, but I feel this is what Shaky's all about. It's rock and roll, it's rockabilly, it's country mixed in, it's 50s. It's just a great album. Some fantastic musicians on here, and it's just a fantastic LP. So that's it. Thanks for coming over and taking a look at my video today. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, because I will be doing more of these as time goes along. And all that's left to say is bye bye for now.